Do you have enough saved in your emergency fund to cover unexpected expenses? I'm not talking about a few $100s or the amount that might get you through a month of cutting back. I'm talking about real emergencies, job loss, massive medical bills, or your car breaking down when you've got no other way to commute. Most people think they have an emergency fund, but the truth is, the amount they've saved wouldn't last in a real crisis. And guess what? A lot of people find this out the hard way. But today, let's make sure that you don't. Your emergency fund is probably too small, and I'm going to tell you why, and more importantly, how you can fix it today. Now, just so we're on the same page, an emergency fund is money you've set aside specifically for unexpected life events. This isn't your vacation fund, and it's definitely not there to support your online shopping habit. No, this is cash you can easily access when life hits you out of nowhere. If your only source of income disappears tomorrow, what would you do? That's the question your emergency fund should answer. But if you're like most people, your emergency fund is probably nowhere near where it should be. Here's why. Most of the rules you've heard around emergency savings are designed for best-case scenarios. You know, stashing away 3 months of living expenses in a savings account, because that's what personal finance advice often says, right? But let's be realistic. Do you think 3 months is enough to face a new global pandemic, for example, or if you're hit with a sudden long-term illness? The truth is, life doesn't always allow us to stick to a neat little 3-month plan. Things don't always go back to normal in 3 months. In fact, they often take much longer than that. Your needs vary dramatically depending on where you are in life, whether you're a single person or if you alone are supporting a family of 5. This is where people get it wrong. They think one size fits all, but in reality, the size of your emergency fund should be directly tied to your personal situation. Let's break down a few different scenarios to see how much you really need. If you're a student with really low living expenses, and let's be honest, if you can always pick up a part-time job quickly, you'll probably get away with 2 months worth of expenses. That covers you in case you lose that job and need a little breathing room. If you're single with moderate expenses, and maybe you have some unemployment benefits available, 3 to 4 months might be enough. Not ideal, but it gives you a solid runway. But let's say you're in your 30s or 40s, and you're supporting a family. You got bigger bills. Maybe a mortgage, and that part-time job at the local cafe isn't going to cut it if you lose your main source of income. You'd need at least 6 months saved, if not 9. And if the thought of losing a job or facing huge medical bills terrifies you because you have limited job prospects or no unemployment benefits to lean on in your country, 12 months or more is not being over the top. It's being prepared. Now, notice the difference between 2 and 12 months. It all comes down to how fast you can replace your income and what safety nets life offers you. So, where do you need to stand in this range? Let's talk about some real-life examples of when people found out their emergency fund was way too small and how you can avoid the same fate. Emma had about 3 months worth of expenses saved up, thinking she was safe because she had a steady corporate job. But then she was hit with 2 hard blows. First, she lost that job due to some corporate downsizing. And second, around the same time, an unexpected medical emergency wiped her savings clean. By the time she found a new job, it took her 4 months, and she ended up borrowing some money to get by. The lesson? Life doesn't wait for you to find a job within your savings time frame. Or take Tom, who runs his own business. He thought he didn't need a big emergency fund because his business was doing well. And then the global pandemic hit, and his business had almost no revenue for 6 months. He only had 4 months of emergency savings. If he had planned a little more conservatively, he wouldn't have drained all of his savings and been forced to take out a loan. So, how do you fix this problem once you realize your emergency fund might be too small? The solution is simple, but it takes discipline. Start by calculating your true monthly expenses. This means rent or mortgage, food, transportation, utilities, all the things you need to stay afloat. Now, multiply that number based on your unique situation. If you think you can bounce back from a job loss easily, maybe you're fine with 3 months. If not, go for 6, 9, or even 12 months if it takes you longer to replace income. Here's where the motivation comes in. Every dollar you set aside brings you closer to financial security. Every dollar means less stress when the unexpected happens. And believe me, it will happen. Set a goal and start saving in chunks, whether it's a percentage of every paycheck or a fixed amount. Just start building. Now, where should you keep it? It's tempting to go for high-risk, high-return investments and let inflation scare you into thinking you need to do more. But the point of an emergency fund isn't to grow your wealth. That's for investing. Your emergency fund should be lower risk and easy to access. A no-frills savings account or money market account or low-risk bond ETFs will do the trick just fine. Keep it simple. So, the next time someone tells you that 3 months of savings is enough, remember, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. What really matters is understanding your situation and planning accordingly. Whether it's 2 months or 12, the right emergency fund gives you the peace of mind and the ability to weather the storms life will inevitably throw your way. Take action today, reassess your savings, and commit to building that buffer bit by bit. You'll thank yourself later when life doesn't exactly go according to plan. And if you're looking for more guidance on how to manage your money and plan for financial stability, hit that subscribe button. I got plenty more advice coming your way.